Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, November 7, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather look. And we can see that as of the latest update that just came out at 6:35 p.m., which is actually almost 1 hour ago considering that the time is now 7:23 p.m. We can see that we still have Hurricane Rafael across the Gulf of Mexico, and we have that area that has a low chance of development to the north of the US and British Virgin Islands. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic, well, as the sun is going down in general across the Western Hemisphere, we can see the line associated with us losing the daylight. Don't see the blues that represent the sea or the green that represent the land anymore. All we see is black and white to signal that it's nighttime. And we can make out the clouds associated with Hurricane Rafael across the Gulf, as well as the clouds right here to the north of the US and British Virgin Islands associated with that system that has a low chance of development. And if we take a look at the very latest from the Hurricane Center regarding this system, as a matter of fact, let's zoom in. Let's see what they've stated. No, they've said a trough of low pressure located near and north of the Virgin Islands continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some gradual development of this system is possible during the next couple of days while it moves westward near the Greater Antilles. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible across the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and the southeastern Bahamas through Saturday. And we see that they've given the system a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we know that the next name on the list after Rafael is Sarah. Let's see if it actually acquires that name before all is said and done. As a matter of fact, let's see if we even finish up the rest of the names on the list before the hurricane season is all said and done. Tony, Valerie, William. Will we get those names? Only time will tell. Alright, so let us focus our attention on what's happening with Hurricane Rafael. Just for reference, we can see the western coast of the Florida Peninsula right here, the Florida Keys. We can make out Cuba right here. So we can definitely see the clouds associated with Hurricane Rafael right here. We can definitely see that classic look to it. Definitely a hurricane, that classic buzzsaw kind of shape to it with the clouds fanning out. The central dense overcast around the eye of the system. We can definitely see that eye right in here at the last frame. Definitely a lot of convection in and around eye. That eye wall definitely formidable. Look at all of these blacks, grays, purples. Lots of bad weather conditions out to sea right now, and that's the only good thing about it. It's not really affecting land right now in terms of all of the rain and wind, but definitely a lot of waves being churned out in all directions into Florida, into the southern Gulf states, into the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as into Cuba. As a matter of fact, we can still make out some outer bands associated with Rafael, still lashing portions of Cuba as we speak, and there's been a lot of damage from that island regarding Rafael. I'll be showing that damage to you in a moment, but let us get the latest information. As of right now, the latest Euro spaghetti model ensemble still in consensus that the system should be continuing towards the west. They're still not really sure what's going to be happening. The Euro ensembles have it turning to the north, possibly affecting the US Gulf states. Some of the ensembles make it to the south. According to the GFS ensemble, something similar, but there's still a bit spread out. Not really sure where the system could go. Will it go to the north? Will it go to the south? And in terms of the intensity, most of them have it downgrading for sure back to a tropical storm in the green as of right now. It's showing that it's a category 2. Let's see if it actually downgrades within the next 24 to 36 hours as this line graph is showing. But as of right now, the latest from the Hurricane Center, let's reload this, that we have the very latest. Well, I guess this is the very latest. It says 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Is it really the very latest? Let me see. Oh, I guess that's the very latest. I guess they haven't updated it as yet. But as of what they've stated, the system is packing maximum sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. It's moving towards the west northwest at 9 miles per hour. We can see it right here. We can see the Burgundies associated with the hurricane force winds, and we can see the gold around those Burgundies associated with the tropical storm force winds. Should maintain hurricane status in the H all the way up to Saturday. Then by Sunday, should be downgrading back to a tropical storm. And we see that the hurricane center is not really sure it's going to be happening right here. Still have it maybe possibly going down to the south, but the ensembles are showing more of a solution to the north. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we know 105 mile per hour wind means that the system is still at category 2 strength. Anywhere from 96 to 110 mile per hour wind, category 2 for sure. So it's smack dab in the middle. It's not closer to 96, that would make it closer to a category 1, and it's not closer to 110, that would make it to a category 3. So it's right there in the middle of category 2 status. And we saw the journey that it took. All of the gold tropical storm force winds across Jamaica into the Cayman Islands. The Burgundies with the hurricane force winds closer to the center of the system, reaching all the way into Cuba and now across the Gulf of Mexico. And we also saw the Doppler radar imagery out of western Cuba. I mean, look at all of this. Look at the greens that represent moderate rainfall. Look at the yellows that represent heavy rainfall. And we can see the journey that it took, sending all of that heavy rainfall. By the way, look at all of the heavy rainfall still coming in the sections of Cuba as we speak. So all of this pushing northward, all of the yellows and the reds in the Iowa, definitely strong winds and heavy rainfall. That was something similar to what scraped the coast of Clarendon, Manchester and St. Elizabeth when we had Beryl. And if we take a look at the path right here, we see the line passing just to the south and the west of Jamaica, across the waters between the Cayman Islands, more so to Little Cayman than Grand Cayman, and then crossing over the western portions of Cuba, where it is located right here across the Gulf of Mexico as we speak. And as stated, there has been some damage reported. This here from AccuWeather stating, watch as Hurricane Rafael's winds topple a stadium light in Artemisa, Cuba. Rafael made landfall as a category 3 hurricane in western Cuba on Wednesday. We can definitely see the entity here falling down for sure, just to show how strong these winds are. We also have another we have other footage here from DW News. Cuba has been left in total darkness again after Hurricane Rafael knocked out the power grid and forced tens of thousands to evacuate. I mean, look at this footage. Lots of strong winds and heavy rainfall. As a matter of fact, let's go back. Look at the strong winds and heavy rainfall pushing all of those trees. What is this guy doing in the wind? That's crazy. This is crazy. Look at that. Definitely a bad system in general. If you remember, category 3 was what Gilbert was, that many of our older folks have actually witnessed for themselves. So you should know how bad category 3s are. There we have it. No power, no electricity. Flashlights, if not phone lights, having to be used. Boy, and who knows how long they're going to be without power for. And we also have another post right here. It was in Spanish at first, and then I tried to use the translation here that's provided on Twitter. They've stated, well, this person, Ada Monzon, if I'm not butchering her name, stated this video was shared with me by my colleague, aeronautical meteorologist Cuba Henry Delgado Fandor. This is how strong the winds of the Hurricane Rafael were as it passed through western Cuba this afternoon. And this is what she is highlighting this video. Look at, well, look at the heavy rainfall. Look at the wind. This is just ridiculous. This is as bad as it gets. I am sure that we could definitely say that Jamaica dodged quite a bullet. We got just the tropical storm that brings more rainfall than anything else. But this, if we got this, boy, we would be out of power for weeks again. Just like what happened with southern or southwestern Jamaica with Beryl. And we're happy that we didn't get in on any of that. Quite a blessed country indeed. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the latest supercomputer models are showing regarding the next 7 days as usual. First, we're going to be looking at the euro. Then we're going to be looking at the GFS. So we're going to be focusing our eyes on the timestamp right here, as well as what's going to be happening with the system to the north of the Leeward Islands, as well as what's going to be happening regarding Hurricane Rafael. Just focusing on the Caribbean in general, just for reference, we have Jamaica right here. And we're going to be looking at this on the key on the right, the greens into the yellows that represent some amount of moisture. Alright, so as we continue to go out in time, we see that the system, let me see if I can get the updated. I don't know why it's showing me that very outdated euro run. Alright, so here we have it. More updated now. Sorry about that. And let's see, do I have the latest euro GFS? Yes, I do. Alright, good. So the latest euro run right here has Rafael right here. We see the moisture associated with that system to the north of the Leeward Islands. So as we go out in time, as we head into Friday, 12Z on Friday is actually 7 a.m. We see the air flow pressure that's associated with Hurricane Rafael still across the Gulf of Mexico. We see the moisture to the north of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola. We also see an L right here. That would more than likely be associated with an upper level low pressure. There's definitely a spin somewhere in there. I think if we take a look at the latest infrared, somewhere we can make it out. Let's look at the rainbow loop. This is what I'm referring to when I say upper level low. I wonder if you guys can see that spin. Look closely. So you see the clouds going around in this fashion, and then you can see the clouds being pushed northward. There's definitely some kind of upper level spin in there. So there's definitely an upper level trough of low pressure somewhere in there. So that could be what the Euro model is highlighting. Don't think that it's an area of low pressure that could possibly develop. But as we go out in time, we see what happens. Most of the moisture associated with that enters into Hispaniola. As we continue to go out in time, we see the moisture associated with the area of low pressure that the hurricane center is watching, pushing into the southeastern Bahamas and Cuba, just like they said it would in their discussion. And then as we continue to go out in time, we see even more moisture coming in from the east in the portion of the eastern Caribbean and the central Caribbean. Some of this moisture making it into Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, passing to the south of Jamaica. And we're just going to be stopping. Well, before we do that, let's look. We see Rafael heading into Mexico, just like we did yesterday. And then we're going to be stopping right here at the end of the 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. This is valid for 12Z on Thursday, November 14, which is actually 7 a.m. And we see some moisture, especially across the southwestern Caribbean, maybe an area of low pressure trying to form. Let us see what the latest GFS is showing so we can match it with what the Euro is showing. So as we go out in time, we can definitely see what's happening in the area of low pressure associated with that system that the hurricane center is watching, coming into the southern Bahamas, coming into eastern Cuba, something similar to what Oscar did. And then we see the bout of moisture across the eastern to the central Caribbean. We see the isobars associated with Rafael definitely losing its strength for sure. Lots of wind shear should be affecting the system around that time. But look, I was to the south of Jamaica by around 12Z on Tuesday, November 12. We see a lot more moisture. We see some isobars. Let's continue to go out in time. We see some kind of area of low pressure trying to formulate, and we're going to be stopping it right there at the end of the 168 hours. So both maps are showing Thursday, November 14, and we're starting to see a bit more concentration with some amount of moisture to the south of Jamaica, to the east of Nicaragua, to the north of Costa Rica and Panama. Definitely interesting because that's the spot for November. The hot spot for our system is forming. That's where we had Rafael form. So will something formulate later on down the road? I'm not even gonna be passing 168 hours, but this is what we're seeing, and more than likely, if we're gonna be consistently seeing it over the next 3 to 5 days, more than likely the Hurricane Center, I'm pretty sure they might just put a code yellow somewhere down here. You just have to pay close attention and stay updated with exactly what unfolds. And even if nothing happens, there's going to be a lot of moisture across the Caribbean within the next 7 days. This map from the Euro, this map from the GFS showing a lot of burgundy colors, lots of purples into the pinks. That represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to 4 inches of rainfall, and we see the consensus for that, especially across Hispaniola, that's going to be affected by these systems, the troughs, the area of low pressure that's trying to develop. Section of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands getting another mix. So too areas to the south of Dominic, well, to the south of Guadeloupe. So Guadeloupe getting in on the mix. So too areas of the Windward Island, lots of purples in there. We also see a lot of rainfall in store for portions of Colombia as usual, nothing new. Panama, Costa Rica, section of Nicaragua getting another mix. They're used to it, but they're gonna be getting another lot if this actually verifies. We even see some light shades of blues in there. That represents what, up to 12 inches of rainfall or more. That is just ridiculous if that actually verifies for the next 7 days. There could definitely be flooding. There could even be footage of flooding coming out of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica as well. And we know that there are a lot of even Jamaicans who work down here or live in Panama right now. So if you have relatives or friends there, get in touch. They're definitely going to be in for it over the next 7 days. And regarding the rainfall totals across Jamaica, let's look at the close-up. We're not really seeing much for the next 7 days. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Wednesday, November 13. We can see the Euro is a bit more reserved, showing the greens and the yellows. That represents anywhere from 20 all the way up to 30 millimeters of rainfall from the east to the west. The GFS, something similar, the same, the green, the yellows, and with a little touch of orange up to the 50 millimeter range across the far eastern end of the island. So we see that there's not really much rainfall in store, and most often than not, these rainfall amounts are mostly expected during the afternoons when we've had that daytime heating for sure. Especially considering that there's nothing really affecting us. Don't see any tropical wave here across the Greater Antilles. Don't see any trough right now. So more than likely it's just going to be that daytime heating rainfall that we're in for. So the rest of the surface map, as we can see, highlighting the ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see the purple symbol here across the Gulf of Mexico associated with Hurricane Rafael. We can see broken orange lines right here across the northeastern Caribbean. That is associated with a trough, another trough right here to the north of the main development region that has been induced by that frontal system that stretches all the way up into the northern or northeastern portion of the North Atlantic. You can even see another trough right here, hugging the coast of Africa, and we see a tropical wave right here across the Windward Islands into portions of northern South America. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the summer done, we can make out all of these entities. Alright, there we go. Yesterday it glitched out on me. It didn't glitch out now. Very good. So we can see the clouds associated with Rafael. We can see the clouds associated with that system that the Hurricane Center is watching. We can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave across the Windward Islands. We can also make out the clouds associated with that frontal system that stretches all the way down into portions of the basin. Lots of clouds, lots of activity taking place as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, November 7, 2024. It was stated that parts of eastern, central, and western Jamaica would have received some afternoon rainfall on Thursday. As a matter of fact, if you remember yesterday's video, we highlighted that the models were showing some amount of rainfall in and around portions of the island last night into this morning, but I wasn't really believing that, especially considering that the models were not in consensus with the location as well as with the times. But we definitely got an some amount of rainfall this morning across sections of some southern and eastern parishes. But before we even look at that, let us highlight these areas first. We know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. While central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? I woke up to some heavy rainfall last night in my portion of St. Thomas. The Cuban Doppler radar images highlighting 1 a.m. This was what was posted on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica at that time. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can definitely see that portions of some southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica were getting in on some amount of greens that represent moderate rainfall, as we can see by the key on the right, and the yellows that represent some strong or heavy rainfall as well. So we definitely had some rainfall anywhere from, let's say, southern Manchester eastward, section of Clarendon, Manchester, sections of southern Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas, as well as even Portland, got in on some of the early morning rainfall. Definitely had that rainfall for sure. Even although the models weren't in consensus, we saw that we got it. If we take a look here at what took place as we started to get in to the afternoon hours now. Look at what happened at around 2:21 p.m. The visible satellite image was posted right here on our social media platforms, highlighting some clouds. Look at where the clouds are located, by the way. We definitely had the clouds bring some overcast skies and isolated thunder showers to portion of northwestern St. Thomas, section of St. Andrew, Kingston, section of St. Catherine, northern Clarendon at the time, northern Manchester, section of St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland. Definitely got in on the action. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see most of these clouds were starting to spill into other areas that they weren't at the time the post was made. So definitely portions of majority of Clarendon, majority of Manchester got in on some thunderstorms before all was said and done, and all of this spilled into section of southern St. Elizabeth. And if we take a look at the latest infrared close-up satellite images from the Weather Nerd site, we can definitely make out what took place. We definitely had that thunderstorm activity, that large portion of southern Jamaica for sure. We see those high cold clouds being blown off towards the south, just as predicted in yesterday's video with that upper level flow. And we even make out the sparkling white dots across portions of St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland, section of Manchester, section of Kingston, and St. Andrew. Gotten on some of the thunderstorms as well. Definitely was quite a wet afternoon, just as predicted. And we definitely have confirmation here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing that we had some moderate to heavy rainfall on the Barbican Cam at around 2:16 p.m. Definitely can see here the vehicles with their windshield wipers on, the heavy rainfall lashing the area at that time. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that we have a partnership with this YouTube channel. This is C Jamaica on YouTube. They show live streams of the corporate area from Halfway Tree, Crossroads, Barbican. Even the Flat Bridge is what they show 24/7. So subscribe, especially if you haven't as yet. The reason why you're seeing subscribe right here is because I'm using another account. I don't know why, but when I'm using my Weather Jamaica account, I can't see the streams. I don't know why. But please ensure that you subscribe because they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the CIMH, that's the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map is 100% accurate, but it does paint quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today. Definitely across northwestern St. Thomas, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland got in on the brunt of the rainfall. The rainfall totals aren't 100% accurate, but it does paint quite the picture of where we had rainfall today. Unfortunately, we have some bad news. We highlighted in yesterday's video from TVJ News that there was a vehicle that was swept away with 2 people. And unfortunately, the news came out today. They've stated here the police have confirmed that the bodies of 58-year-old Junior Gooden and 28-year-old Terrika Green have been found inside the vehicle that was swept away on Tuesday during heavy rain in Worthy Park, St. Catherine. Guys, I cannot stress enough how important it is to always turn around, don't drone. And look at the type of vehicle they were driving too. It was more likely a pickup truck. And many of us think that, oh, it's a pickup truck. Definitely not going to be stalling out. Definitely can't be washed away or anything like that. But we can't chance it. This is our life at stake. And many of us think that, oh, we can definitely go through that, or the water isn't rushing that fast, or is not that high. But the thing is, something can happen with the vehicle that causes the vehicle to shut down. And then when the vehicle shuts down, the rain gets even heavier, the water rises, and then that's when the vehicle starts to float and wash you away into a gully or a river or whatever the case may be. That's how you end up dying. I've highlighted on November 2 on a post that was made, something from the Weather Channel, what you should do if you're caught in a sinking car or in a car that's floating away. Do you keep your seatbelt fastened? Do you call for 911? And I want for you to keep in mind that, oh, why not just pull the door? Guys, when you are in a vehicle and there's water blocking the door, what you don't understand is that the vehicle, you can't open the doors. You cannot open the doors. And with most of these windows these days, electrical operated, you need to press a button to wind down the windows, unlike those other ones that we used to manually wind down. If the vehicle shut off, there's no power to wind down the windows. So more than likely, we can't keep the seatbelt fastened. We can't call for help. More than likely, the people who are seeing you being washed away can't help you either. So the best thing that you can ever do if you're ever caught in a situation like this, shatter the window. I don't know. Get yourself into a position to kick the glass. It doesn't matter if the glass is shattered. That can be fixed later on. But at least you'll have your life with you. If you're ever caught in a situation like that, if you're in your family's vehicle or in a taxi or a bus, you know what to do now so that you can save your life. Unfortunately, we also have another post that was made here from Jamaican Métis and Groupie Pinkwall. This was posted, I think, 2 hours ago, highlighting the landslide that was taking place somewhere on the island. And it's not uncommon to have landslides, especially after major rain events. The ground is definitely loosened and saturated. Look at all of these big rocks falling. As a matter of fact, these people who are videotaping and watching what's happening are too close for comfort. Get away from there. There we have them running now. Look at the big rocks falling down. These things happen, especially when there has been a lot of rainfall. If we take a look at another post that was made here on our Twitter page today, highlighting what was taking place regarding the weather across Jamaica today, Shani stated conditions along Mandela Highway around 3 p.m. She sent us a video highlighting the heavy rainfall that was taking place on the Mandela Highway. See a vehicle pulled over on the side of the road. We see them traversing. Definitely a good idea to be taking it slow on the road while you're traversing in heavy rainfall. We also have another post right here from Jomar Parks 5 hours ago stating heavy rain a while ago in northern Clarendon, and we can see the heavy rain in his community as well. Must be nice to live smack dab in the middle of the island, huh, Jomar? I think all of the rainfall all the time. Look at the heavy rainfall for sure. We also had Ricardo James stating very heavy rainfall in Papi and St. Andrew this afternoon. Ayana stating heavy rain in Kingston. And even on our Instagram page, we had a lot of comments coming in highlighting the rainfall that was taking place this afternoon. Breed_official stating, listen, it's a storm here. I want to go home, people. Portmore Bell_Nas stating, raining at Norman Manley International Airport. Chrissy Anderson 94 stating, it's pouring here in New Kingston. As a matter of fact, do I have any comments on Weather Jamaica's YouTube page? I don't want to leave you guys out at all. Let's see if we have any comments on yesterday's video. Alright, let's see if we have any new comments on yesterday's video about today's weather. Do we? Alright, let's see. Okay, definitely have some comments right here. I think this was a Richard Kidd stating rainfalls in Kingston, St. Mary. We have Vatsy Bent. Well, that was from Rich Kid. We have Vatsy Bent stating rain now in Moko, Clarendon. We had Marilyn Powell stating raining in Iron Gate, Clarendon. Right. No. And we still have some more comments here on our Instagram page. The Mario Business stating. What is he stating? Let's see what he's stating. Raining in St. Mary, Realm_JA stating getting rain in Portmore. We also have Kim Sue stating rain, lightning and thunder in Mandeville. _Rihanna.T stating a whole storm at work. Skipping ahead, we had Slim.An stating raining heavily in Manchester with lots of lightning and thunders. Even electricity is gone. Sexyland Black stating rain in St. Andrew. We have Unique_.Chance stating Portmore Washway. Reday stating hard rain, not too long. Stop fall in halfway tree. We have Dunce.5051 stating rain. It's_Esri_ stating heavy rain in Manchester, Knockpatrick side. Right there. So that indeed confirms the rainfall across portions of eastern, central, and western Jamaica today for sure. But we clearly see that it was more confined to southern Jamaica than anything else. Just like we stated, because of the upper level winds flowing, so more than likely all of the rainfall would be on this side of the island rather than the north side in general. As a matter of fact, I think I have what is this? A video here on our TikTok page highlighting some comments coming in. I don't know how that music came in. I hope YouTube doesn't shut down my video because of the music. But we see right here CC_unstoppable stating right on spot, exact time. Hasha stating first maybe I see weather so right. Dean84 highlighting rain in Clarendon. We also have Charmaine Allison stating so true, we really get a heavy shower of rain. Iris Sweet stating Mandeville soon wash away. Alright, so before we continue, we need to highlight the fact that Jamaica was just soaked, and I usually make these posts immediately after we get a huge rainfall weather event. We're highlighting that we just got the tropical storm that was Rafael. It states here, Tropical Storm Rafael soaked Jamaica. In an effort to prevent mosquito breeding, it is time for us to throw away unwanted containers or junk that collected rainwater, remove stagnant water from flower pots, and clean rain gutters. We don't need any mosquito-borne diseases right now. So I hope that you're listening. More than likely, even with today's rainfall, something in your yard collected some amount of rainwater, and none of us want any more mosquitoes in our houses to be biting us up at night and leaving scars, having us for dinner in general. So ensure that when you wake up tomorrow, look for these containers, throw them over. You would be shocked to see that mosquito is already breeding up, getting ready to be born and fly into your house and do the most. Alright, so we just had an update coming out from the National Works Agency, posted at 4 minutes to 7, highlighting that caution. Vauxhall to Union is closed. Extreme caution is advised as we assess alternate routes for driving. And we can definitely see what they've highlighted seems to be somewhat of a breakaway right there in the road, if I'm not mistaken. That looks crazy. Can you imagine falling into something like that? So I guess they've inserted some trees as well as put a drum up there so that persons can know exactly what is happening. Alright, so let's just take a look at the very latest still image. Let's see what's taking place. The latest still image just came out at 0045 UTC, which is actually 7:45 p.m. So this just came out, what, 13 minutes ago. You can see Jamaica definitely clearing out as we speak, as expected. If you take a look at the very latest Cuban Doppler radar images, let's see, are we getting the latest? Unfortunately not. Seems to have glitched out at around 6:40 p.m. right there. But we can definitely make out some of the rainfall that was affecting portion of St. Elizabeth at the time. Not much taking place right now. Definitely clearing out just to match it with what the latest infrared satellite image of Jamaica is showing. So too, not much happening on the Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar. We see some isolated shores across eastern Cuba, but that's just about it. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, some leftover shores right there to the south of the Cayman, some leftover shores from Rafael to the north of the Cayman Islands as well. And regarding what's taking place right now on the Flatbridge Cam, let's look. We still see that the rear Cobra is in speed. Didn't see anybody driving over it, so I guess the water levels are still a bit too high for persons to traverse it anytime soon. We can still see that there's a lot of debris right here that needs to be cleared out. So it's going to be taking some time before the area is passable. I know that there are a lot of people who want to traverse this area instead of having to use the alternate route where they have to pay a toll. As a matter of fact, I wish the government was nice enough that whenever this has happened, whenever we have floods or whatever the case may be, they put something in place so that everybody who is passing through doesn't have to pay anything, because this isn't their fault. This is basically the weather in general. Alright, let us take a look at the temperatures right now. We can still have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18D on Friday. When calculated, that's 1 p.m. on Friday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in gray colors for the most part, that we can see by the key on the right. That represents average or normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November across Jamaica are about the same as 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And when calculated, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.1 degrees Celsius. So that's the temperature forecast for Friday. 31.1 degrees Celsius. And if that is a bit too hot for you, please ensure that you try your very best to dress down. It's Friday. Dress down, wear lightweight clothing, and use sunscreen. Seek shade when outside. Eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you are feeling tired. It states here, soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress how important it is to always stay hydrated as much as you possibly can. Even if you're not thirsty, throughout the day, stay hydrated all the live long day, throughout the day for sure. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, November 8th, we can make out the Saharan dust right here, stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into portions of the Leeward Islands. The Eastern Caribbean definitely going to be getting onto some of that. But what we're happy about is that although it's pushing from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north, we know for a fact that this is more so on the lighter shades of browns. What we don't want to see is the dark shades of browns that can cause very hazy skies. And we know what can happen. It can trigger asthma, sinusitis, all of those issues in some persons. So we're definitely glad that the more it pushes towards the west, the more it dwindles, and it's more so on the lighter shade of brown side in terms of the vigor of the dust. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, We can see that the highest wave should be across the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, where we have Hurricane Rafael. We see more lighter shades of blues to slightly darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 to 1 meter wave heights, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And that's because the winds across the Caribbean should be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10, maybe up to 15 knots for the most part. We see across the Eastern Caribbean more coming in more so from the southeast. We see across the Central Caribbean from the east, and we see it's definitely spinning counterclockwise where we have Rafael. For tomorrow, definitely some stronger winds, bright greens into yellows, all the way up to category 2 hurricane status in there, for sure spinning around that center of circulation. And regarding the close-up of Jamaica in terms of the wind forecast for tomorrow, we see more of the stronger winds on the north coast for sure, but we definitely see more of a east northeasterly kind of flow in general. We don't see much winds on the south side at all. We definitely see more blues than anything else, which definitely means that the air is gonna be piling up again for more afternoon rainfall across southeastern, south central, and southwestern parishes. So basically the same areas that got in on rainfall today could get in on some more. And with the upper level winds coming more so from the northeast, tomorrow is definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall across southern Jamaica. We see by that time the upper level low should be right here to the south of Haiti, to the north of Colombia. If we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast now, this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro are both valid for 4 a.m. on Friday. And we definitely see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of some northern parishes. The GFS more inclined to believe that it's going to be more focused across Portland and St. Mary into section of St. Anne. Euro has it spread out from Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, as well as into section of Trelawney and St. James, even to the north of Hanover. We'll see how that plays out at 4 a.m. Then we see that by 8 a.m. we have the blues that represent rainfall still affecting northeastern Jamaica, section of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, Eastern St. Thomas. We see on the Euro having more of the rainfall out to sea. We'll see all of that plays out. But by afternoon now, look at what both the Euro and the GFS models are showing for 3 p.m. We see the blues that represent rainfall where? Across eastern, central, and western parishes again. So anywhere from St. Thomas, Portland, sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, sections of St. Mary, maybe section of St. Anne, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, section of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland might get in on some amount of afternoon of rainfall when we have that daytime heating. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models accumulated precipitation forecast are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Both models showing all the way up to 0.26, maybe all the way up to 0.39 if not all the way up to 0.49 in some spots. And we're indeed grateful that it's going to be raining somewhere tomorrow for sure. Don't want to have the hot temperatures or the heat. We're in the month of November. We're starting to wrap up the rainy season. In Kingston, whose bar graph is shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. That's 2 inches of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 5 inches of rainfall. That's around 125 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall and the rain gauge, you can visit this website right here, weatherandclimate.com, and they'll show you that information. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that does the conversion of rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the calculations yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see some thunderstorms affecting northwestern Venezuela, section of Colombia. The usual thunderstorm activity, more of a monsoon-like pattern, stretching in from west to east into portion of Colombia and Panama, which makes sense given the amount of rainfall that's expected over the next 7 days. Those monsoons can definitely bring lots of rainfall. So the monsoon trough is definitely down there. We can see section of Nicaragua getting in some of the rainfall. So to southwestern Guatemala, we see a lot of rainfall across sections of the Windward Islands, as well as the waters to the north of the Leeward Islands. Lots of moisture still stretching from the western portions of the Cayman Islands all the way up into Cuba, wrapping into Hurricane Rafael. And if we take a look at the latest across the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening right now. We can definitely see the greens into the yellows that represent some moderate to some slightly maybe some heavy rainfall out to sea to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, to the northeast of the British Virgin Islands, affecting section of northeastern Dominican Republic, the waters to the north of Puerto Rico, getting in on some of the action. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can make out some isolated shores coming in from the east, right there to the northeast of the island. Some rainfall passing to the north of the island, some of which affected portion of southern Dominica today. We see some of this coming in from the east to affect sections of Martinique as we speak. Some of it already affecting sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent. Scrolling down, we can see some of it to the east of Trinidad and Tobago. Some of it was affecting Tobago earlier, but not now. Some of it could definitely spill into portion of Trinidad later on tonight into tomorrow. And if we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can make out that rainfall left from the outer bands of Rafael, still affecting portion of northwestern Cuba. We see some rainfall to the far east of the waters out to sea of Nicaragua. We see some rainfall across northwestern Venezuela. Some rainfall definitely affecting the ABC Islands as we speak. I'm sure they're grateful for that because they haven't been getting on much rainfall throughout the hurricane season. You can see some rainfall across second of Colombia too. And if we take a look right here at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way until 10 p.m. on Friday. We can definitely see the greens into the yellows and the oranges. That represents anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to 0.75 for an inch of rainfall. The reds that represent an inch of rainfall all the way up to some purples into the pinks that represents what 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. Definitely for the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, section of western Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of the Leeward Islands, section of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. Scrolling down, let's see what both of the maps are showing for northeastern South America. Not much rainfall, just some coastal areas of Guyana. Not much for Suriname or French Guiana, but some isolated shores for eastern and central Venezuela. Most of western or northwestern Venezuela into the ABC Islands should be getting some rainfall tomorrow. Lots of rainfall for section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, as well as sections of El Salvador for sure, into sections of the northern Yucatan. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.